All right, so it's 11:30. I'm gonna get started. I recognize that there's some empty seats here. Clearly, we're just waiting for everyone to fill in. I'm going to take you on a little drive today, creating some digital portfolios in Google Drive. Actually, I want to refer to something from the last presentation that Alan mentioned, talking about my district is also very big into the Microsoft side, but it's been very difficult to get those collaborative pieces off the ground because it's very buggy. When we try to use it, it doesn't actually work. So I always just say, listen, let's go to Google, and it'll be fine. It always has. All right. So in the portfolio setting, how many of you are language arts background? Okay. I have a TeachMeet set up. So TeachMeet, or sorry, not TeachMeet. Today's meet.com/this is LeBrun. I want to kind of leave that open so we can kind of have a running dialogue of the problems that we see with portfolios. All right. Depending on what district you're in, it can determine whether or not your portfolio program is running really great or whether or not people are seeing lots of challenges. So kind of share that with us. And I'm going to blog about it later on, and I want to post the findings and kind of see, maybe I'll get to some of the challenges that you have found as we go through. The other thing I want to tell you is that I am no longer in the classroom, but because I come from an ELA background, everything I do kind of has like this narrative thing to it, or at least in my mind, it has this wonderful narrative flow. So you're going to kind of feel that, and maybe it won't feel as like directly informational, but I promise you there's tons of information in it. So in my district, portfolios end up looking a lot like this. Where it's just a pile of papers that have then become like the contents of a folder, and it's like I did the work, and the work is now in the folder, and now my portfolio is complete. But there's a ton of problems that exist with that, because when we talk about what a portfolio actually is, we should be seeing things like drawings, and we should see things, you know, photographs, videos, PowerPoint presentations. And I say PowerPoint, people get a little like, oh, it's old school, but PowerPoint can work. How do you put that successfully into a portfolio setting? You know, especially when your portfolio is going to look like this, right? Now this is Mrs. Walsh. She is a delightful ELA supervisor, just like me. She has determined for the district that there will be a 6 to 9 different pieces that will be included in the portfolio each marking cycle. That way we know that all the students' work is being represented, and we're going to be able to see that successfully throughout. We'll check points to make sure we'll be able to really track a student's learning. Anyone with high school ELA? All right. I know in the high school, there are districts that run into problems with students who aren't passing standardized tests. And it's like the ASA, the Alternative High School Assessment. And if they don't pass that, then there's this portfolio submission piece. So it's really important to make sure that we have as many documents there as possible. Also, she's a strict vegetarian and a liberal in her sweets. This, Mr. Wilkins, he is a 60-year ELA teacher, hefted JV golf coach. He's an avid reader. He enjoyed the movie World War Z, but he won't once he reads the book. Now, he is responsible for 127 students on his class roster. And he needs to make sure each and every one of those students is successfully completing their portfolio requirements each marking cycle. This is Samantha. She's very excited to be in Mr. Wilkins' class because he's very engaging. He gets them involved. He makes them think about things that they normally wouldn't. He takes the ELA class and he makes it, flips it on his head so it becomes this kind of current events, connecting things to classic literature, pop culture, and he's really, really exciting. And so she's just one of those people, and so is Isabel and Peter, Fernando, and the entire class. That's just one. Now, when we think about what this all means, we have sample total, 6 to 9 per marking cycle. Marking cycles in a year. Anybody? 4. All right, you're with me. So we have 6 to 9, and then there's 4 marking cycles. And how many students did I say? 127, right? So when we think about all that and we do a little bit of math, and I know it's surprising to have an ELA guy in front of me talking about math, but we're on the low side, we're talking about 3,048 documents or pieces that Mr. Wilkins will be dealing with throughout the course of the year. Okay, on the high side, we're putting 4,572. Now, when you think about that, if we just had it just be a piece of paper, we're talking about one piece of paper per each one of these documents. Mr. Wilkins is handling 9 reams of paper in a pile. Just imagine what that looks like, right? It starts to get huge, okay? But we still haven't gone to the portfolio room to get all the old portfolios, okay? And this is a really well-organized portfolio room. My portfolio room actually exists in milk crates. And depending on what it was like in June, some teachers were just like dumping it on top. There you go. There's all my portfolios. Go find them. Unless you're looping, that class list is not the same as it was here. Okay. So, the challenges. How much control does every student have over what goes in that portfolio? Right? What is the teacher telling them what's going to be there? Where are the papers being held over the summer? Is it that kind of crazy room? Is it the milk crates? Does the student have access to it? Think about this. We talk about Common Core wants us to be college and career ready, right? So when we think about what a student is going to be able to do to prove to someone that they're college and career ready, they're going to need to provide that information. Is the student going to have to show up at the school in the summer to say, hey, listen, there's actually this program I want to get involved with, and I've got to show them a writing sample. Can I have my portfolio? Let's hope we can find teacher who knows where that is. What's the protocol for the new teachers getting it? They're going to have to go to the crazy portfolio room again, right? How's that going to work out? Total number of papers, as I just said, that number of papers is just nine reams of paper stands about that high. Okay? With that, we're going to run into storage problems. Where are all these portfolios going to go? Okay? College employer wants to see the work. Think about beyond the student getting it to them, what are they going to do? And an admissions person is going to just be handed this pile in the portfolio and be like, well, thanks. Now what? And how do I get it there? And how many of you only applied to one college when you went to school? How are we going to reproduce these? Okay? Did I miss any of the challenges? Did anybody have any challenges that I haven't thought of? All of today's meeting, I'll find out. Absolutely. What do you do with that shit? Right? I actually teach in, or taught, I'm not in the classroom anymore. I teach in a very transient district. We have students who will be in 4 high schools by the time they hit their senior year. It just happens to be the way the culture is around it moves. Ding, 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 ding. Where's all that paperwork going? And I do apologize because this is death by PowerPoint. Too many words on this slide. I don't like to do it, but for this work. Okay, my first assignment was always this. Please send me an email from your professional Gmail account. Anybody notice what Samantha's email was?
Bow wow.
Bow wow babygirl2cute55@yahoo.com. Guess what? That's a real email address. It's a real email address that I took from a student. And I said to her, I said, cancel this immediately. This will do you nothing in your world. Get rid of this. Okay? And they have to have their email address that is their name. Gmail, there it is. You're going to be able to use that for that. Because it's who you are. Right? Once you do that, there's also rumored to be effective. Drive. Once you have your Gmail account, now you have access to Drive. My students get very excited, right? Now we can do presentations. We can do the Google Docs. We can be collaborative. We can use all these pieces to then store everything. You got to turn it into paper. My printer doesn't work. Share it. All right, you're going to be able to share this with me, and I'm going to be able to make the comments right there directly on. And if you missed getting rid of the red pen this morning, it was a great presentation. And really focused on being able to use Google Docs, which is just one tool to offer that feedback in a constructive way. Also great for parties. Now, how can we take that pile and make it look like this? What this is a shared folder in Google Drive. Okay, and we are fortunate enough to have the inspiration behind this with us today. Thank you very much, Kate Baker. Months and months ago, and I just told her this morning, Kate put out a tweet about sharing a folder in Drive. And I said, that's a pretty interesting idea. idea. I wonder if we shared that folder in Drive, if I could share it with all these people, and then I could post the link with all the work that I've been doing. Which sounds a lot like. All right, so once we have our folder, our portfolio folder, we're going to click on share. A lot of this, the technical side in terms of like going through and really the hands-on of what this is going to be, I have another presentation for, so my shameless plug. If you want to see more and delve into the depths of the technical side, let's we can vote for me at lunch, and I'll see you this afternoon. But once you share it, make sure that you're sharing it with. There's two different ways. You can share anyone with a link can view, or anyone with a link can edit. Very important that you decide which you want it to be. When you share a folder with your students, it should be anyone with a link can edit, because that way you're going to be able to provide documents to them that they'll be able to reproduce and take with them. If they're just edit, if you can just say you can view it, you can't really do anything with it. They can just look at it. Okay. Once we populate this, our centerpiece is this little guy right over here. Now you probably can't read that. That's our student self-evaluation. The student self-evaluation is the crux of the portfolio, because otherwise it's just papers put together in a collection. Having the students self-evaluate, they're asking themselves these questions. How does this artifact demonstrate what I can do? How does it demonstrate my growth? How does it demonstrate what I'm going to be able to do in the future? And I mentioned college and career radio earlier. That's the idea. This is a document, this is something, and it doesn't have to be a document either. This is something that I've created that demonstrates an ability that I gained. And this analysis proves that. It's a way for the students to connect to their own work so that they can understand what it is that they've done. It's not enough that we look at the crucible and try to understand how does this tie into the Red Scare of the late 1950s in America. What's more important is that the student can look to their own work and say, I am able to make connections between literature and the real world and understand that allegory. And to say, look, I did it. I recognize that. Inside Student 11's portfolio, we have all these different documents. And attached to each and every one of these documents is going to be that student self-evaluation. If it doesn't have a self-evaluation, it doesn't need to be there. If they're not reflecting on why they think it should be there, it doesn't get included. Once we share it out and we have a link, how many use QR codes? You can take a QR code for each kid, have them post it in the room. Right? You can populate a list, a spreadsheet, send it off to the board, and say, here's portfolios for my classes. And now Samantha's happy because she gets to keep her work all the time. It's her work, she's got it locked up, and she's going to be able to take it with her wherever she goes. She has that ownership. She has that control. She's able to say, you know what, I'm going to apply to 9 schools. Instead of making 9 different copies of a gigantic folder that's got staples and things, she's able to just say, put all the different emails that she needs to send, put the link, send it off. Mr. Wilkins is happy because now he's able to share what she's done with the board. Because let's face it, the people at the board office, they're the ones who are saying, listen, we need to have all this documentation, we need all these different evaluation pieces, we need to make sure, and what did Mr. Walsh say, we need 6 to 9 pieces each and every marking cycle. Here's a reminder, by the way, make sure you check your link. You don't have to show up and go sifting through things to see what was there. Right? Mrs. Walsh is very happy because now she can successfully do her jobs instead of going to 9 different schools in the district to say, can I please see your portfolios? And then carry one off and show it as evidence. She's able to just pull up that link. All right? Or how many of you guys get district walkthroughs? State walkthroughs even. Welcome to my class. Stop bothering me. There's a QR code on the wall. Got it. Thank you. Perfect. Also, green. Let's go paperless. We really don't need everyone to prove that we've been doing the work. And the transitions between all three are really easy. I can get it from student to teacher, from teacher to the board office, or to whoever they're reporting to with incredible ease. But I would like to be able to talk to you further about this in the afternoon. If that doesn't happen, I've posted on my blog that the links to the presentations that I've done today. I've also, you can connect with me on Twitter. There's I'm working, well, I developed a company that focuses on tutoring, professional development, and summer experiences for students. You can contact me as well.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Anything I can address? Yes.
When you share that folder, you make it you allow anyone to access the link and can edit. So when the kids put their work in their folder, they don't have to share it individually so that I can see.
If I put a folder in that I've shared, right, and it's shared out that anyone can view, as soon as something new is put into that, it takes on the sharing ability.
You don't have to depend on the kids.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But one of the things that I will say is that what I've done is to take my folders and I put in the student self-evaluation and I said, I want you to make a copy of this and then take it to your folder so that way they have control of it, they have a copy of it that they can continue to make copies of and attach to every piece that they put in there. Yes?
So presumably in your district, you could have the students work follow that from grade 7 to 12.
Absolutely. Yeah. Grade 7 to 12 very
That
easily.
could be for any subject, K through whatever, the whole lifetime of the
Right.
student could have it
Yeah.
in this manner,
Absolutely.
in all subject matters.
In all subject matters. They could ultimately put a folder for each of their disciplines and be able to keep track of, like again, all the presentations, videos made, spreadsheets that they've used, anything that they put in.
So you could even like have subfolders too.
Right, yeah, the subfolders can, especially if you want to do it by age, like this was my kindergarten folder, this, and you could actually really have a tangible example of the growth.
How do you determine what goes in the folder?
You don't determine what goes in the folder. You may have, and actually we saw Mrs. Walsh had her 6 to 9 different pieces that she wanted to have in there. You may have things that you want to see. There may be specific documents that you want to see. In my district we have district writing prompts. We have 3 given per year that are tied to the SGOs, and we want those included. But that's 1 out of the 6 to 9 per marking segment.
And then when the teacher shares a folder with the students, then how would the teacher would then have to share that folder with the administration, right?
Yep.
So that they would just do it the same way.
Right. There's already a link to say once the teacher has that link and has made that file, made that folder shareable, you can just put the link in an email, put superintendent or all users for the district, and they'll have that link. So there's a lot of transparency with that. So as opposed to my portfolio, I remember being a classroom teacher and just having 127 students and just piles of blue folders stuffed into a cabinet that mattered in the sense that they were important to the kids' work, but at the end of the day, nobody wanted to come deal with those folders.
But does this have to work in a Google Docs domain?
I'm not sure I followed the question.
Like, if I'm a classroom teacher and I have 100 students in my classes, those kids have their own Google account within my domain, and within my Google Docs for everyone. That would it be feasible to use this scenario within that domain, or they all have their own private email account?
I went with private Gmail accounts. Right. My district actually gave every student an access code and an Outlook email address, and it's been a nightmare in terms of making that work. So I said, and when they graduate from high school, that's going to be gone. They don't have that anymore. So my thing was, get a Gmail account right now with your name. That way it's going to be, you're going to use it for resumes, and you're going to use it for college applications, things like that. Yes?
I've used Google Apps for Education with as low as fourth graders. The only issue is the legality, so like
Well, that's
you
why
should use it, yeah. They can always make a copy, but before they graduate or if it's just gonna turn over, like they can choose the make a copy option and save their whole folder somewhere. But I wouldn't have you create the folders, I would have them create it and share with you. Then you can save it in your drive, but that way if you move to another school district or something, you delete your account, they'll still have their drive as well.
And having the students do the creation makes it a true integration of technology, not like here's something we're going to use. It makes them learn the process.
And it's easy, they just click it and click
Yeah.
share, it's very simple.
Right.
No, but I know there's like a script called G-Class folder that creates the folders and allows you to share and manage the folders with the kids. But I mean, it seems like it's a good concept and everything, but to understand it, it's a little bit cumbersome.
The script.
To understand like what folders get created, how you name them. When you create a folder, the kid gets 3 folders. Like a viewable, like a read-only folder, an edit folder, and then they get, I don't remember the other. Shareable folder. So like, your students will have 3 folders for one class.
See, and I try to break that down to the smallest part.
It's a little cumbersome, you know?
I was actually talking, tweeting with a script developer who I had this big laundry list of things that I wanted the script to be able to do specific to this, and he actually said to me, "Stop, make it as easy as possible, make it to the least amount of steps, and there is a script that you can use a Google form, and I'll talk more about that if I get to talk this afternoon with you. That will take a form, and once you use the form, it attaches to the end of the document, so you're not actually looking back and forth between 2 documents. But if the students treat one of their folders as a shareable folder, and their main drive folder as everything else, then they don't need the form.
So would you recommend students create their folders and share it with the teacher, or the other way around?
I would recommend that. I would recommend the students create the folders if they're going to be sharing.
Folder tree, and then share that with the
Absolutely. Was there something on this slide? Yes.
The student is creating the folder and sharing it with you, who's their teacher for that year. Is there any danger of, and you don't want any of that stuff to be lost, but if the folder belongs to the student, is there any danger of like, okay, I'm leaving your class at the end of the year, I'm just gonna delete all that in the summer because, the class is over, I don't need it anymore. Like, is that, like, do the kids know that this is a portfolio that you want to continue that's gonna follow them, or like, is that?
Yes, they should, and that's going to come from the instructor. That's going to come from the stress on the importance of the document, or of the folder itself. I thought you were asking the question in a different way. If you share a folder with the account setting, anyone with the link can edit. You can look at the folder and then do whatever you want with the items in it. So if I were to share it with you, you could actually take items right out of the folder, and they could potentially just be gone. So that's important to let them know as well. That actually happened to me this week. I spent the summer writing curriculum, and I was all very proud of myself, and I put my 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade curriculum in a development folder, and I sent it off to the 9th grade vice principal to have her take a look at the 9th grade curriculum. And I was watching the folder, and I watched the 12th grade get deleted, and the 11th grade get deleted. And I picked up my phone, and I called her office, and she didn't respond. And then I watched the 10th grade get deleted, and then finally the 9th grade went back. And I finally got her on the phone, and I said, "What did you do?" And she said, "I don't know." Luckily, I had created a backup, and that was all well. But that is a risky run. So I sent it to someone who didn't have it, savvy enough not to take things out. So
So it would be better for the teacher to create the folder and share it with the kids then.
I don't think so. I think if you model the way it should be shared, I think that's the key. That's the key. If you model it and let them do it, they'll learn it, and it'll stay with them. Thank you guys very much.
Where do we go this time? Good job. Thank you.
Tech savvy.